Pay attention, it's snippet time. Hello and welcome back. We are already on Friday. I can hardly believe it. That means day 5 of our 5 days sober together for those of you who are along for this ride. Some of you are getting your first 5 days, some are getting your next 5 days, and some of you are along for the ride because you're going to get your sober days the minute you're ready. Okay, let's get started. Today, I want to talk to you about something I mentioned way back on Monday. On Monday, I taught you how to do the pickup. You can go back if you don't know what that is. Don't want to repeat it. But in the pickup, I taught square breathing. Today, we're going to talk about breathing, how you can use it for anxiety and many, many other things, why you should use it, why it should be a big part of your life. And I'm going to give a little more information on the square breathing technique because it is so incredibly powerful. Let's talk about the breath. That's what we're going to do. Let's talk about the breath. Before I get started, I want to remind you that this week, Monday, I launched the Sober Living Community. I gave you your first invitation. I opened the doors for the first people to come on in, the founding members of the Sober Living Community. This is for lovers of the snippets, snippasauruses, whatever you want to call yourselves. In the community, which is free, of course, you're going to get access to some goodies that I put in there, including some master classes and a couple of courses that I did last year. You will be the first to know about upcoming events. Most importantly, you're going to have access to each other and to me. We're building community. So you can go in, introduce yourself, ask questions, make requests, comment on the snippets. All we ask is that you do all of this with respect for others. All right, so the community is there waiting for you. If you haven't joined yet because you're driving while you're listening to the snippet for whatever reason, now's your chance. All right, so the community is there waiting for you. If you haven't joined yet, please do, because I'd love to see you there. Let's talk about breathing. First of all, what happens when we breathe? Why do people always say, oh, breathe, right? One of the things that I know about those of us who drink a lot, many of us deal with anxiety. We deal with social anxiety. We deal with anxiety on different levels. We're nervous, right? We drink because it relaxes us, takes the edge off, that kind of thing. Breathing is incredibly powerful. Of course, it's been studied to death, and we just know, like as a human race, we know that the breath is directly tied to our emotions. Did you know that if you're breathing calmly and rhythmically, you actually can't get anxious? Like, it's not possible. To be anxious, you have to breathe shallow and quick, and your breathing will match the anxiety you're feeling. That's why the first thing you're told when you feel anxiety coming on is to breathe. If you sit and you breathe rhythmically and smoothly and calmly and slowly, you will automatically change your mood. Automatically. You don't have to think about your mood. You don't have to think about the anxiety. You don't have to think about anything. Just breathe. If you're not using your breath, then holy mackerel, you're really going to want to start using it. I love breathing. When I first learned how to breathe, it is so amazing. And you can learn different ways of breathing. There is nothing more delicious than a deep, deep belly breath of fresh air. It just feels so good. You can feel the oxygen hitting every cell of the body. Very rejuvenating. But in terms of anxiety, on Monday, I taught the square breathing technique. Now, there are many types of breathing techniques, strategies. There are many different ways of breathing that we can learn, but I love square breathing because it's easy and it's very, very effective. So square breathing, it's called square because it has 4 sides. Taking a square breath means to inhale slowly through the nose to a count of, let's say, 10. But Count itself doesn't matter. What matters is that the count is the same on all sides. You see my point? So make it whatever count is comfortable to your lungs. The goal here is not to strain the lungs and try to breathe in as much as you can so the lungs are hurting. Just inhale and count slowly, about 1 count every second. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And when your lungs are full, stop counting. Let's say you stop counting and you're at 11. Fine. Then I want you to hold that breath in your lungs for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Then exhale for the same number of seconds that you inhaled. So if the inhale lasted for 11 seconds, you're going to exhale for 11 seconds. And try to match your exhalation so that your lungs are empty at 11. This takes a little bit of practice, but the goal is to have them evenly matched, okay? So try to breathe in and breathe out at the same pace so you can get that number aligned. So the number is the same on the inhale as it is on the exhale. Now, here's a couple more pointers. You're inhaling slowly through the nose only. So you might want to clear the nose, get the head nice and clear for this. And then hold for 3 beats, and then exhaling. The exhale is important. You exhale through the mouth as though you're blowing through a straw. So you're pursing the lips. Imagine you're holding a straw in your mouth, and this will help you to exhale more slowly. And you're just slowly blowing the air out of that straw to the same count as you inhaled. Then once your lungs are empty and you've hit the count, pause for 3 seconds. That's the 4th part of the square breath, and then start again. So you've got 4 sides. Square breathing has 4 sides. The 2 sides, I guess it's actually rectangular breathing, isn't it? Because 2 sides are the same and the other 2 sides are the same. It's a inhale and exhale are the same count, and the hold on the sides is 3 beats. So that's actually a rectangle. Oh my goodness, all these years I thought it was square breathing, and it turns out to be rectangular breathing. Do we care? No, we don't care. We'll call it square breathing. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. So this is a very powerful technique for calming us down. I invite you to have your eyes closed while doing your square breath and just sit somewhere. Just sit down and do some square breathing when you are triggered. Because remember, on Monday we talked about a pickup. The first part of a pickup is the P, which is pause. Stop dead in your tracks. Interrupt the pattern. And then breathing. The I stands for inhale. So that's when you'll sit and you'll pause and you will do the square breathing for as long as it takes to calm down. You can do square breathing for up to 5 minutes if you want, because you're not holding your breath. You're not out of breath. You're not straining yourself. Make sure you're not pulling and pushing your lungs and straining at all. It should be very comfortable. Just inhale for as long as is comfortable and count that, and then match the number on the exhale. So there it is, kids. That's one way of breathing that is very, very effective for calming down when we're anxious or triggered. There are other strategies for breathing, many you can learn, but let's start with square breathing. I want you to have that in your toolkit, because when we get all wrapped up and all riled up, we can't think straight. And that's when we can end up grabbing a glass of wine or whatever is our go-to. And then the next thing you know, we're in regret, and then we're sowing and reaping things we don't want to sow and reap. And oh my goodness, what a mess. So instead, sit down and do some square breathing. And one more thing, I want to give credit, very important, to the person that taught me square breathing back in the 90s. This is pre-podcasting, pre-internet, pre-all that. And this was a radio psychologist. I think she came out of Chicago. I should Google her. But I used to listen to her show when I was in college. I just found her somewhere on the radio, and I enjoyed her. She was a psychologist who took calls and gave people advice. And her name was Dr. Joy Brown. And I haven't thought of her in years, but she would give people square breathing all the time because people would phone in and say, oh, Dr. Brown, I'm anxious. And she'd say, okay, you got to do some square breathing. And she would prescribe it and describe it. And so that was where I first heard about square breathing. I just wanted to put that out there, say her name. I don't know where she is or if she's still around. If she is, sending her love and gratitude for the square breathing. I'm sure there's others who teach it as well, but that's where I got it. So I wanted to do that. There it is, kids. Please join the community because why? Because you want to make a two-way communication with me and the other snippet lovers, right? Of course you do. You want to be supported on your journey. And I want to get to know you more intimately. That's why we're doing it. I really, really do. I look forward to that. I can hardly wait. We're already up and running in there. So if you're not in, come and be a founding member. Your do for today is to practice the square breathing. Don't wait until you're anxious and you need it and you try to remember how to do it. Sit down for a couple of minutes today and give it a whirl. So your do for today is to try out the square breathing because it takes a bit of practice. If you need to listen to the episode again to get the instructions, of course, you can do that. But practice it so that you have it when you need it. That's Friday. That takes us to the end of a week. That takes us to the end of 5 days sober. My friend, if you followed along with me and today is your 5th day of sobriety, then I have only one thing to say to you. First of all, I guess I have 2 things to say to you. First of all, congratulations. That's amazing. Second of all, why not keep going? Why not keep going? You know what? There are over 270 snippets that I have published. So you are not alone just because a weekend is coming tomorrow. You can go back and binge yourself all weekend long on the snippets and you'll find yourself supported. And I'll be back on Monday with something fresh for you. Of course, you can also join the community and get really nicely connected and supported. There it is. That is another week gone by. And remember, your dues over the weekend is to drink an extra glass of water on Saturday and an extra piece of fruit on Sunday. That's it, kids. Sending you love, of course, and much, much gratitude. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.